Eric, a lot of companies have to charge royalties, ongoing fees to their franchisees, and because we're not a franchise, we don't have any ongoing uh, revenue on the back end like that. That's like a membership due or a support fee each year. We just don't have that because we make money on all of the services that our licensees offer. So I just said, look, if we're making money and they're making money and everything's good for everybody, why would we want to charge them for support? Let's just support them that much more. Their business grows that much more. We make that much more money. It's just a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely. So, folks, it's a great move that Patrick did. I think it's a brilliant move because it's helping you. You're not having to worry about paying, after a certain amount of years or whatever, have to pay for more support. So, first of all, let's talk about support in these three categories, Patrick. Obviously, everybody wants to know, how do I get my first client? I mean, there's no doubt. You've said it. If you don't have a client, you're really not in business. So, we're going to talk about marketing. Obviously, we're going to move once they actually do have a client, how we're going to help them with their billing support. And I think one of the biggest keys about this is, and we're going to talk about this towards the end of the webinar, is the network of support that actually happens within ABS, not just here corporately, but with other ABS licensees.
Yeah, that's a huge part of what we have to offer to people, Eric. If you think about it, they can take courses and read books and take all kinds of things on YouTube, I guess, to learn about medical billing as an industry, as a profession. But that's mainly for people who want to go to work for a doctor. If they want to work for themselves, they have to learn how to build a business, and they have to know how to market that business and grow that business. And that's where we come in. We've been doing it for 23 years now, going on 24, and so we kind of got it down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, let's start with this, is the whole marketing part of it. I mean, I think it's so key that when somebody gets in, I was talking with a few folks today, obviously a lot of people get ready, Patrick, they want to come to training, they think they can actually do the business of medical billing in of itself, but obviously they have to have a doctor to do that. So let's kind of talk about this whole marketing part of it, and then we've already kind of talked about how long support is, and we've already kind of nailed it down to it's a lifetime support, but let's kind of just go through some of these things that you've already sort of mentioned. There's no royalty fees, no additional user fees, obviously no support fees, no software upgrade fees, no new service fees, no training fees, no clearinghouse fees. So, wow, that kind of gives us a little bit of a head start whenever we're trying to at least get this thing going and off the ground for our licensees.
I went through that list one time with somebody, I forget who it was I was talking to, and they were so at the end of that whole list they go, so what fees are there?
There are no fees.
It's like I couldn't think of anything else to put on the list, and I didn't know how to end the list with, no, there are no fees, N-O, none, zero, zilch. But it's true. We don't have to have any kind of membership fees or something that you pay on an ongoing basis because, to be honest with you, we've built our opportunity, Eric, as you know, based on a price point that we think fits a lot of people. It's not for everybody, and we don't want everybody in this business, so we have to have something that kind of screens people out. Well, money will do that pretty fast. If somebody doesn't have the money to get in this business, of course they can't get in it. But if they do have the money, then we want to know that they're really somebody who's going to go out and build the business and be successful because, again, we make money on the ongoing services. So we want you to be successful. Now, there's no quotas. There's no requirements. You could literally take everything we teach in that week's training and come back and put it on the shelf and not do a thing with it the rest of your life, which would be a waste of money. But the point is that we're not going to do anything to force you. There's nothing in writing. There's nothing in our agreement that says, oh, you got to reach a certain quota, a number of doctors, number of claims going through the system. None of that. You're an ABS licensee for life, and will continue to be, as long as you continue to go out and building your business in your area.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So let's first of all talk about marketing out to the doctors and the support that they actually get. Now, we're just going to demonstrate a few things here show a couple of screenshots of some of the marketing things that are out there. But Patrick, why don't you just kind of talk to people, because I know marketing is usually in most people's minds the most scariest thing that they ever have to do in their lives.
Yeah, well, it always reminds me of Jerry Seinfeld, who said it's like asking people to speak in public. Nobody wants to speak in public, so he says people at a funeral would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy up front, because that's how scary it is. Well, the same thing is true with marketing and sales. And Eric, as you know, I have to actually tell specifically the people who come to our training workshop that have any kind of background in sales to forget about 95% of all they know, because it doesn't work in this industry. Doctors don't want to be sold anything. Well, none of us do, right? We love to buy, but we don't like to be sold anything. That sounds like it's going against your best, wishes, or the good of that person. In our case, when we place somebody in our system, a doctor in our system, we're doing them probably the biggest favor anybody's ever done for them.
Yeah, and again, Patrick, I mean, once people go through our training, and again, we're going to talk a little bit about this all throughout the webinar today, but what they learn is that they're really having not to sell anything. Really, at the end of the day, if we kind of think about it, the only thing they're selling to the doctor is their cash, and because that's what they're missing, and it's all done systematically. It's all done, like you said, through a system to kind of lead the doctors down a path, because obviously you said nobody likes to be sold. Doctors hate to be sold, and so this whole program, this whole system that we have really begins by discovery through what we're going to show here in a practice analysis, but really the biggest benefit of the support team, support what people get here, is American Business Systems doing live demonstrations on behalf of our licensees directly to their doctors.
Yeah, now see, we've done this so long, Eric, that when we say something like that, it's like it means the world to us, because in our minds we know how valuable it is to have a third party come in and do a live demonstration of software for somebody. So we do that on the behalf of our licensees, and we think nothing of that. Do you know that we should be charging probably $100 every time we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We know it's worth a lot of money because, well, as you know, we're closing about half of all of those demonstrations that we do. So if our licensees can just get those demonstrations booked with the doctors, which they're doing every day, because we've got like 5 or 6 people, right, doing it full time for us,
right?
It keeps us busy, and it actually gets doctors to, well, it opens their eyes. They realize that the technology is available to do things that they wish they could have done years ago. It's like we bring them into the future and set them there in front of their computer and show them exactly how this system works, and they are just blown away.
They are blown away. I'm looking over to the questions, and we've got one. It's actually a couple of them has come in from Dimitri. Dimitri's asking, but doctors pay for software on a monthly basis per provider. Is that competitive? The quick answer to your question there is it is competitive, because one of the things, Dimitri, that you're going to discover, and that's going to be through the practice analysis, is basically how much the doctors are already paying for another system and the other hidden costs that are involved in those that sometimes you never know about it until you do a practice analysis. Then he's asking the question, can you help monetize the doctor's ROI in using the ABS system? And we can do that too. Well, that's part of actually what we're going to talk about next week during the webinar. So for that'd be next week's webinar, that we're going to show you how that actually gets monetized, and really the increased revenue for the doctor, which in turn increases your revenue because of how you're charging the doctor. But Patrick,
If I could just have you peek at slide 30, I think we could touch on that a little bit.
Here. That's a great part. Yeah, let me get there. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of jumped ahead here, but since that question was asked there, this is a way to monetize this for doctors. And Eric, I'm going to encourage people to change the the way they're viewing this on their screen, if you have GoToWebinar running and me and Eric are real big on the screen and the slide is small, you can slide your divider there between the screens and adjust the size of this. And there should be a zoom button up at the top of the viewer there in GoToWebinar that will let you zoom in full screen if you need to see this. Because, Eric, I think this is important, even though we're going to cover it probably in pretty good detail next week, just to glance at this as an illustration of something that, folks, when you go and do what we call the practice analysis, as you can see, this is a review. This is where we go back into the report that our software generates, that you generate, to take back to the doctor after you've done that initial practice analysis where you ask them 20 or 30 questions. You come back with this and look, in black and white, the doctor's doing the same thing that you did. When you saw this on the screen, hopefully your eye dropped to the very bottom line there, because the bottom line is the bottom line, right? And bottom line for this particular doctor, with the numbers that they gave us, we're showing that we can increase that doctor's revenue by $10,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eric, even for doctors who, a lot of them make a lot of money, that's nothing to sneeze at. That's a good cabin on a cruise ship for a week.
Yeah. Well, that's an additional $122,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good return when you start to think about this. So, Dimitri, that the practice analysis, which will bring you to this review, and then that coupled with, now I'm going to kind of go back over to where we were, which was right over here at this part over there. Imagine presenting that to the doctor along with us answering the questions of how we get them there. And again, as Patrick mentioned, this is not a demonstration that's done by you and you alone. That's done by us here at ABS to help support you. You've got that document of showing, doctor, look at what you're losing, look what you can gain, and then my technology team, which is ABS, is actually going to show you how that's done, and we'll do that through a live GoTo meeting.
Yeah, and Eric, that's why it's important that people realize when we're talking in this webinar today about lifetime support, how important that is. Well, folks, I don't know of any company that does live demos like this that would answer all the questions for the doctor so that you don't have to. It's all done for you by us, because, again, we make money on each one of these claims that are processed to the system, so we want you to sign up lots of doctors. So we do a live demo. I was just joking a while ago, but when I said we should be charging $100 for these, Eric, I'm not kidding. This is worth a lot of money to somebody in business for themselves, especially if they've never been in business for themselves before.
Right, no doubt, absolutely, no doubt. Eric's asking as part of support services, does ABS Corp offer help with the practice analysis review, the billing, claims dispute resolution, other services such as setup, training on the EMR?
Absolutely, yes. Yes to all of the above. In fact, Eric, you're going to find out that as a part of our support, we are going to help train your doctors and their staff on their use of the electronic medical record system, the EMRX, and the scheduling system that's built into iClaim here. So yes, you're going to give them access to that. Remember, it's your system. You're the administrator of it. You can issue credentials to anybody and everybody you want to, and again, there's no extra charge for that.
Yeah, you got it. Now, part of what you're learning in this live demo that we're doing, we're going to show you and the doctor basically how some of these things that we're going to show up here. A lot of people are it's kind of funny, Patrick, but it's legitimate. A lot of people ask, well, aren't the doctors already using some type of system already, and how do we get that? How do we get their information from one system to another? We're going to show you actually how to get their patient roster from their old system into here. Now, it can be done manually like this, as we're showing this. Obviously, we can type this in, but Patrick, you and I know if someone actually starts typing this information in, they could create errors. And if they create errors, this actually stops the whole billing process. What's even better is when we go through this process and we can complete what's called an insurance eligibility request, and then the entire patient chart for that particular patient comes directly from, like in this case, from Aetna, and it's actually inputted into our system without us having to type anything in. Now, if people could let that kind of sink in a little bit, imagine taking a someone that the doctor is that's their job responsibility at that doctor's office. It can take them anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to add a new client or a new patient within their software currently. How about if we could take that from 20 minutes down to less than 5 minutes, and then also ensuring that that doctor is going to get paid because they've checked in the insurance eligibility as well. This is, Patrick, one of those wowing moments that you've heard when doctors go, wow, I've never seen that in any software before.
Yeah, because they're not used to seeing real-time data obtained through our system. We're watching it really live happening on our screen as it goes out to the database of the insurance company and actually pulls in all the data that the insurance company has into your billing system here. So as Eric said, you not only save time, but you save all the errors there because, well, if it's wrong data, it's not your fault. Right. It's the insurance company's fault. So that's all done in real time, folks. Nobody else has something like this because we're the only company that has their own built-in clearinghouse. Now, a clearinghouse is basically a third-party entity that a lot of billing systems use to upload their data to each night, and that company, that clearinghouse, sorts through that data, makes sure it's all in good shape, scrubs it, and then forwards it to the insurance companies. We do all that for our licensees right within our system, so there's no third party that you have to mess with or blame it on. If the claim doesn't go through, the buck stops here, right, Eric? It's our fault.
Absolutely. You got it. Matter of fact, I'm showing this one last little screenshot here because this is so cool. There's a couple of cool things here that's interesting. One is everybody should see on the left-hand side of all these people's names, all these little different color codes. And imagine that we've all been to the doctor, and we all know that someone behind that bulletproof glass, so to say, they're supposedly checking insurance eligibility on every single patient that walks through the door. Well, again, that's very time-consuming. But in here, you can see that these color codes are actually doing that for that front office staff anyway. So it's actually checking to make sure as to whether or not really that doctor's going to get paid or not. But there's one more little interesting thing here, Patrick. We don't have time to really get into that. But if people can see this third one down, this Judy Dench right here, there's an appointment type called e-visit. Patrick, why don't you talk to everybody what's actually in our system that is really not in any other EMR system that has to do with the future?
You mean as far as the
e-visit?
Oh, yeah. yes, of course. Think about it this way. Here, Eric and I are talking via video. You guys are watching us talk. But wouldn't it be nice if I, as the patient, could just connect with my doctor, Dr. OJ, through video and actually talk right to him or her just like I am here during this video? That's exactly what we have built into our system. Now, there's whole franchises built around telemedicine, Eric, trying to sell you on the idea that you should sell a doctor on the idea of doing this. We've had that built into our system now for the past 5 to 8 years, and so it now is something that's available to our licensees and to their doctors and to their patients through our patient portal.
So imagine your support team here at American Business System stepping this entire process of this marketing, this whole marketing campaign that you're doing, combined with what we're doing. Here's how we're supporting you, and this is for a lifetime. And Patrick, you know as well as I do, we'll do this for one licensee for one time, or for that same licensee 100 times. There is no additional charges for this. This is the lifetime of support that they're getting from us here at ABS.
Lifetime. That means as long as you're alive, you are an ABS licensee, whether you like it or not.
Yep, absolutely.
You don't have to do anything to renew it from year to year. You just continue logging into our private website that we have for our licensees, seeing all the new stuff that we're coming up with on a weekly basis, and you just continue getting more and more value out of your license. Eric, as you know, I interviewed Marie last week.
Last week, yep.
She came through training like 2007 or something way back, and maybe it was 13. Anyway, she didn't do anything with it for several years until last year, and then she decided to pull it off the shelf. She had gotten a job offer right after she finished our training, so she went to this, for a full-time job for a couple of years, and then she just decided to pull it off the shelf because she had a friend that wants to get involved with her in the business. She said, well, we'll just get this going. She pulls it off the shelf, goes out and does what we taught her in that training workshop several years ago, and got her first 3 or 4 clients there pretty quick.
Wow, amazing. Folks, we do encourage you to go listen to those interviews, and you hear exactly what Patrick's talking about there, so go do that. Okay, so again, we've already kind of skipped ahead a little bit on some of this stuff, but and we're going to show you this report again, but how do you get to those numbers? Remember a minute ago we showed you this practice analysis review. We're going to show that to you, but how you get those numbers is through this practice or analysis report, or this questionnaire that you go through that, which again turns into this report. And again, Patrick, when the doctors get to see the bottom line, that again coupled with the demonstration of the software, that's where you mentioned earlier that we're closing at least half of those demonstrations that we're doing. So really, for every 4 that we're doing, we're helping our licensees close at least 2 of those, if not some more, as we keep going and getting better at what we do. And obviously, the licensees are getting better at what they're doing too as well.
Yeah, so remember, folks, on these webinars, we're not really teaching you the details of how to get this practice analysis review. We don't have time for that, of course. That's why we take a full week here in Texas to train you on how to do this. But a big part of our training is going through that practice analysis, question by question, and helping you understand why the questions are asked, what answers you'll normally get from the doctors, and what your general answers will be. It's really simple once you learn how to do it. And then to come back and just plug in the numbers that they gave you into this report, it's basically a spreadsheet that just grabs the numbers and does the calculations and comes up with this. You'll see, folks, this is really a sharp 6th grader can run this business.
Absolutely. All right, so Dimitri's got about 3 questions there, Patrick. While I get prepared to get to the next section, you want to kind of start talking a little bit and answering some of those questions so we don't get too far behind?
Yeah, let's see here. Dimitri wants to know, let's see, we talked about the monetizing, the billing staff. He says, is that all they do? Or do they have other administrative functions which need to be carried out? Do you think he's talking about the staff in the doctor's office? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Dimitri, you might want to clarify what you're asking there, because what?
Oh, he says yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. The doctor's office is not going to do any more billing. Now, the front office staff will still take care of the patient's demographics, and they'll take care of the doctor's calendar or the doctor's schedule. But those are the administrative functions that they'll be carrying out. Now, you'll be doing the billing, but there's a separate part there, because both the doctor's office and you, as the medical billing company, will both be using iClaim together. It just I think there may be a little concern in his question there, Eric, about the staff. Yeah.
He says, if this is all they do, in other words, do they have other things to do? The answer is a resounding yes, Dimitri. They have dozens of things that they were not told that they would be doing when they were hired, but they are going to be doing for the doctor because there's so much to do there in the front office. So we actually teach our licensees how to help the doctor reallocate the time of those staff people so that even though the billing is now not in their purvey, they still can keep very busy helping the doctor see more patients. And that's where they make the money anyway.
Absolutely. I think you kind of answered a lot of those questions there, but his last question there, are you replacing staff? You might be, but that's kind of jumping to some conclusions there that that you won't know until you actually work with that doctor with this practice analysis. So in
Yeah,
most cases, you're not going to let anybody go.
A part-time high school girl or boy that comes into the office and does data entry, and that's basically what they're doing, is doing the billing on the back end. But it's not normally the full-time job of any one person in that doctor's office, unless it's just a huge doctor's office that has one person that's they're dedicated to that. That's all they do all day long is the billing. Right.
Absolutely. All right, let's move to the second topic, which was billing. You know, what happens now that you've got the doctor? How often, Patrick, have you heard from the licensee that says, "I just got my first doctor signed up, and now what do I do?" Kind of going,
well,
I actually got one.
That's where our people, again, your extended staff of people that are our people, ABS, we have people that's all they do all day long is work with doctors and their staff to get them implemented, to get them up to speed on their use of the system and your use of the system. And so part of that training is stuff that you're going to learn, and part of it is what they're going to learn. So we're doing it for both of you to try to get you up to speed. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, another question came in here: is there a cost to doctors for training? There's no additional fees for that because that's all part of what Patrick's talking about there. So whether it's some of the training for the staff or even for your staff, that's all part of what you do. And so we will, through our training class, give you hands-on training, whether it's how to use the system through an iPad or the hands-on and how to process claims. I mean, it's all there. I mean, it's like Patrick said, it's just about anybody can do this because the actual billing part of it is not that difficult. Now, maybe navigating through a couple of things might need some training, but we're going to teach you how to do that. And then, as Patrick mentioned, we actually help with the training and implementation once you do have a doctor that's ready to go.
Yeah, that's really what we're talking about today, folks. When we say support, it's stuff like this, helping you get that new client implemented. That's the kind of support you need. So our support is always aimed directly at what you are trying to accomplish at the time. If you're having trouble knowing how to go out and market to doctors, that's what we're going to support you on. If you're having trouble knowing how to get the doctor up to speed or implemented or the pricing or anything else that has to do with your business, that's what you come to us for. We're here. I start to say 24/7. We're not actually in the office 24/7, but we're here and have been for 23 years helping people to get through some of those issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really all starts with the week of training, and we're going to have a new training workshop next week. That we've got new people that are coming in here and they're getting going here, so we've got a pretty exciting class that's coming up. But this is where really support happens, and you get to learn about all the training implementation and the actual hands-on about how to process a claim. And we take you on a tour and then give you data that you can actually input and get used to this, and then even after training, you're going to have access to this same site to be able to do it and practice your heart's way of putting together a claim. It's not, you'll find out that you're going to probably want to hire somebody else to do that for you as you keep going, because it's just entering the codes that the doctor gives you. So no coding necessary of experience there whatsoever.
Greg typed in earlier he was from Long Island, New York. Thanks for coming today, Greg. He also stated just now, says, very nice presentation. I have 25 years plus in healthcare sales and marketing, mostly as a business owner, distributor, selling to doctors. So, Greg, this sounds like it's right down your alley. Sounds like you wouldn't have any problem at all. Again, you know that marketing to doctors probably is completely different from any other type of business. So as long as you've been successful in marketing to doctors, then you must know what you're doing, and you're certainly welcome to join us too. Hey, Dimitri says something about he was looking at that practice analysis we had up there, Eric, and one of the things it listed was a monthly billing staff salary benefits of $3,500, and he was asking that question in relationship to, do the people have other things to do? If we're going to replace them, then does that replace that, or if we're not going to replace them, does that $3,500 stay in there? Well, that's why we have it in that particular example, Dimitri, but every doctor's office situation is different. You know, it's just some of them are going to want to maybe get rid of a person. Other people may keep them on and have them help the doctor see more patients. Again, there's lots of stuff that goes on in a doctor's office that needs doing in there. So
right.
That may be, but we go into detail in that. Believe me, again, on these webinars, we try to rush through these sometimes, Dimitri, and it doesn't come across very well because in our training class, we take the time to really explain these things in real detail. That's why you have basically 40 hours for that week learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, Dimitri, it's if you reallocate someone from one position, well, actually, you take that from that expenditure and you just put it somewhere else, and that may help a growth in the cost for the doctor too as well. So that's what we help you with. So if you're concerned about people losing their jobs, I wouldn't be too concerned about that until after you've done a practice analysis with a particular doctor's office, because a lot of times you're going to just find out that the doctors need help in other places. Instead of them trying to hire so many people, they may have found extra help there once they've got this whole billing part out of their office. So there's a lot of different, you know, things that happen there. So don't take it too seriously that we're going to let somebody off, you know, with their not having a job there. Patrick, let's get back into here about the support in billing, but you have all these other ancillary services that actually help support that in so many areas, and we're going to kind of go through each one of these. But you know, Patrick, it's I think what you and I sometimes we fail to utilize is all the different services that we actually have to actually help people get into the door and start servicing some of these doctors right off the bat.
Yeah, because a lot of times, let's face it, the reality is that some doctors are happy with their billing situation, whether their own staff is doing it using their own software or whether they've already decided to outsource it to somebody else. So they're happy. Everything, as far as they're concerned, as far as they know, everything's fine. So we go in and show our licensees, look, we've got a half a dozen other services that you can talk to the doctor and their staff about. Here's one of them here, CodeWrite. As you can see, it's a powerful web-based application. This is cloud-based, just like all of ours are, that opens up a huge market for you as a licensee. You can offer coding support services to medical providers. So not only do you not have to know anything about the codes yourselves, we have certified medical coders that can help you sell the coding services to the doctor. And, of course, you make money on that as well.
This is actually kind of so okay. He's got his question in here, kind of asking the question: what support does ABS offer licensees in obtaining at least their first doctor client after completion of the training in Texas? So these are some of these. So just kind of listen up here as Patrick kind of goes through each one of these ancillary services here.
Yeah. So what we're doing basically behind the scenes, guys, is working with you along with these ancillary services, some of which have not actually been released yet, right, Eric? But we're still working on some new ones, and we always will be. There'll always be something new that you can go in and offer to the doctor, and boy, it opens up doors that might not be opened otherwise, because again, they might be willing to talk to you about the audits that they might be getting, you know, from Medicare. Audit Guard is another service that you can help the doctor with that. And for a fee, they can protect themselves from those very expensive practice shutting down type audits that Medicare can do.
Boy, no doubt about it. You nailed that one there, Patrick. Because again, whether it's those coding parts of it that you said that, or you know, just collecting. I mean, no doctor ever wants to send a patient to collections, and Quick Collect avoids that whole collection process, because this is one of those that automatically starts to do that whole process for these doctors without ever sending a patient to collections. You know, we think of it, I think we kind of lose this mentality because you've got a doctor-patient, you know, relationship here. But to the doctor, that patient is basically a client to them, and they don't want to break that relationship. So we never want to send a patient to collections. So Quick Collect helps with that. Choice Pay also helps with that. So, okay, as you can see here, you've got all these different services, ancillary services, that you can talk with any of these doctors about. And at the end of that training week, all of this starts making sense. And I know one of the things that you like, Patrick, is this one in particular right here, because even in our own office, we've gotten rid of most all the paperwork in our office. Everything's in the cloud.
Oh yeah, iDocs Now. It's a wonderful way to get your information from the doctor, by the way, and there not be any paper involved in it whatsoever. This is all through scanning documents up into the cloud, and you having access to those doctors because you have the credentials to log into that account for the doctor. And it's a wonderful way, folks, to run your business nowadays. You literally can run this business from the beach in Florida or Hawaii.
All right.
I don't want to be in Florida right now.
No, not right now. I think people are trying to get out of Florida. But you mentioned earlier too, Patrick, that we're always coming with new services. We both know that we're working on some new things right now that is actually going to make it easier, even for you to get in front of a doctor. So we look forward to rolling out all these new services for you, because obviously at the end of the day, we want you as a brand new licensee that does come out of training to have the quickest success in getting your first doctor. And whether it's with one of the ancillary services that we have, or it's through directly into starting getting the medical billing going with those doctors, your success is our success. And we're just trying to show you in a little snapshot here in an hour's time through a webinar. These are the ways that we're going to help you get past that gatekeeper and establish that long-term service with you. All right.
Eric, can I show something here? You mentioned this earlier, so I've never shown this before as far as I know, but I want to go ahead and show a copy of the new book that I'm working on right now for our licensees.
Oh, yeah.
All right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, here it comes. I don't know if it's showing or not.
You're going to have to show it, look at on your little screen there, but I believe you're showing your new book there.
I am? Okay, I'll take your word for that. I can't see it anywhere here. Well, anyway, yes, this is a book called Get More Doctor Clients Now, Your Blueprint for Explosive Business Growth by Acquiring All the Doctor Clients You Can Handle. Now, Eric, I will say this, for those folks that are on this webinar that are coming to this training next week, we are going to get them a copy of this book. So don't worry about it, folks. This is not something you even knew existed, probably until I mentioned this here today on this webinar. But folks, that just shows you how dedicated we are to helping our licensees. We've actually taken the time and spent the money to coordinate this with Dr. Vicki Rackner, an MD who was in practice for 20 years seeing patients, and she had outsourced her billing, and she tells doctors, other doctors in this book, why they should be outsourcing it. But it's also to teach you, as an ABS licensee, all the hidden secrets that we know, she and I, in our 50-plus years of marketing to doctors.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, so that's incredible. And folks, if you haven't seen Dr. Vicki Rackner's, I just saw that come up on my screen, the picture there. So maybe I was able to see that automatically. But let me get this picture. There we go. Picture of my wife and my lovely wife and me. Anyway, here is the last topic that we want to take today. Got about 10 more minutes left of the webinar. A lot of questions are actually coming in here, so hopefully we'll be able to get those questions answered before we get wrapped up here. But let's talk about one of the biggest things here, Patrick, about the support, and that's the ABS network. I mean, we've got a lot of licensed network that we can start plugging people into here at ABS, and whether it's the different services or the different support mechanisms that we have here. And it really begins with this plugging into the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. This is the certification that our licensees get.
Yeah, now MIRMA is an organization that I am a part founder of, that we established for doing the actual certification, because people ask us that question all the time, Eric. What do I need to do to get certified so I can be a certified medical biller? Well, you're looking at it right here, folks. At the end of that week of training here in Dallas, we actually issue you this certificate that says you are a certified medical revenue manager. Now, as you can see, that's far beyond just doing medical billing, right? A medical biller. We could have certified you as a medical biller, but instead, we certified you to handle everything that has to do with the doctor's revenue cycle. And
Right.
we'll go into that, of course, in detail in the training, but that's right. This is issued by MIRMA.
And then ABS Support Licensing Network. Now, the folks that we're showing you here is just a small handful of people that we have licensees across the nation that will help support you in maybe a particular specialty of a doctor. I mean, like the gentleman down in the right-hand corner, that's Tim Warren. Tim does a lot of what's called podiatry billing. That's these foot doctors. So if you were to get a doctor that is a podiatrist and you need help signing up, or you got specific questions about that particular specialty, I mean, we would connect you directly with someone like Tim, that he would coach you along the way, whether it's Cynthia or any of these other folks that we have here. We've got people that we'll plug you in. And Patrick, you do this quite often yourself. You actually work with some of the licensees directly too as well.
Yeah, and you know, that's the essence of us as a company, Eric. As you know, I've told the staff, we do whatever it takes, whatever it takes. And when they start saying, "Well, do you mean that I should do this, this, this?" I go, "Whatever it takes. We're going to make that licensee happy and give them the support that they deserve." Very important. Once you've purchased something like this, as uncertain, as unphysical, you know, as a business opportunity or franchise is, we can make that certain that the support will be there for you once you've completed our training here in Dallas.
No doubt about it. And you've been talking a lot about Dr. Vicki Wagner, and here's a picture of her. And then again, you've co-authored at least one book with her. You're working on another one that you've already done, and again, how often she works with us supporting our personal licensees, even working with their doctors.
Yeah, the Thriving Medical Practice book that you showed earlier, Eric, is one of the books that she and I completed last year. We're working on the Get More Doctor Clients Now as a book this year. So just about every year we plan to do a book together for our licensees to continue giving them the tools that they need to be successful. As you can see, Dr. Vicki Wagner is a published author, has been interviewed on all the newspaper, magazines, and TV shows that you see listed there on the screen. You can find her books all over the internet, folks. She is an authority, and she helps a lot of different business people, like our licensees, connect with doctors. Financial planners, for example, is one of the sectors that she works with, because they want to connect with doctors as well.
And you know, another part of support is the training class in of itself. How, I mean, you just think about it, folks. You're spending an entire week with a brand new group of people you've never met before, and how these folks themselves become part of your own network and support team and your own encouragement.
Yeah, some of the most important support you'll get, folks, is not from ABS, but from your own fellow entrepreneurs that go through this training with you. You'll hear them ask questions that you wished you had asked. You'll hear them say some funny things. It will make the whole class much more enjoyable, believe me, to have all these other people there that at the beginning on Monday morning, you don't have a clue as to who these people are. By Fridays, you're good friends with many of these people, and we'll continue that friendship and support of one another as you build your business.
You got it. Absolutely. Now, you mentioned earlier that American Business System support was 24/7, and you kind of recanted that, but it really is through the licensee support side.
It is. Thank you for pointing that out. This, of course, the internet's open 24/7, so this site that you'll be given access to with a password and ID, This is your site, and folks, you can't possibly imagine from this screenshot what all's here, but there are hundreds of documents and videos and training webinars and things that you can see on this site once you start going through it. It's just filled with tons of stuff, and we add new stuff every week.
Yeah, absolutely. We're adding, as Patrick said, we've got a lot of training. I mean, Patrick, just the amount of training workshops that we've done on through our webinars. You can see, folks, you can see basically over here on the right-hand side, at the top you got business operations and the practice workflow and what our role is, and marketing and working with classified ads. I mean, Patrick, there's hours upon hours worth of video here that people can just keep going through.
Yeah, sorry, Eric, I was looking at the clock, and now I'm looking at the questions, and I'm looking at the slides, and so if we can move on into those last slides and get them up on the screen, we can address maybe some more questions here.
Yeah, let's do the money back guarantee talk real quickly. Just share with everybody, and then we can kind of try to wrap up with any last minute questions here.
Yeah, folks, this guarantee that you see here on the screen is from the agreement that you'll sign with us when you sign up as a licensee. And I don't know how to make it any clearer or plainer than this. It's pretty clear. There's no weasel words in this one, Eric. We wrote it to be just very plain spoken. If at the end of the training workshop, for any reason, you don't think this business is right for you, simply tell any staff member, and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, folks, I don't know if any other company will do that. People ask us all the time, how do you stay in business offering that kind of guarantee? Well, the fact is that not many people have asked for a money back, for their money back at the end of this week. We have what we believe is the best opportunity to start a business in America. So I can count on one hand the times that's happened over the past 23 years, Eric, and it's because we do have something that's very unique. Now, is it for everybody? No, that's why 5 people have asked for their money back. But it's very unique circumstances usually behind those requests. The point is, you can certainly do that at the end of the week. All you're out is what you spent to get down here to the training.